I'll get started. It was good victory, as I mentioned the other night. I thought it was a good win. A team that we had to go beat them. We had to go play well. It wasn't going to be just a rollover. And I was proud of the team the past couple weeks, just the way we've prepared and locked in on our assignments and went out and played football. Obviously, there's still mistakes, but there was a lot of good things as well. And, just proud of the progress. Long way to go. And we'll continue to work and, go on the road for the first time here this week with a great challenge. Going down and playing Old Miss and a very good football team, as I think everybody knows. Second opportunity to play two top fives, and they deserve it. Lane has done a remarkable job with this team. I think, everybody talks about the offense and the tempo and the explosive plays, which is well-deserved, being the number one offense in the country at 670 yards per game, 422 passing, 248 rushing. So really amazing, eye-popping statistics. And they really do a great job with Lane and Charlie Weiss Jr. And their whole offensive staff is remarkable, and they're a very good football team offensively. I think the big jump, as you could tell, with Pete Golding, and defensively, Pete being in his second year, and what they've done, with recruiting in general, and what they've done in the portal, they've really, built an unbelievable football team. So we were just there, several years ago, and 2 years ago, and right back at it. So again, will be quite the challenge, but our team will embrace that challenge, and we need to just have another great week of preparation, continue to build on the good things we're doing, and some of the areas where we're still falling short, we got to find some answers and continue to work. So with that, I'll open it up.
Mark, you mentioned their defense. What do you see particularly up front that matter? A lot of big guys.
They have a lot of guys. They have length up front, and they have length in the secondary. They have length just across the board. And you look at their two outside receivers on offense, and they could go up and get it. They're strong, and along with a tough scheme. Defensively, same thing. Pete is really good and really solid. You're going to have to earn every yard you get against him, because he's just always, they're dialed in. And then they have the bodies defensively up front. Obviously Walter Nolan is a different type of dude. He's, he's special. He's a first-round guy, and then all their other guys are very, very good players with great length.
Obviously, you're really good against Georgia, another top 5 team, but they do it different ways with both guys. What are the unique challenges of defending this kind of offense?
Well, I think, the first thing with their tempo, obviously that creates a lot of stress. Then you put the tempo in there with what they do, with how balanced they are. They're committed at running the football, and then the RPOs off of it. And, Jackson Dart, running this offense now and being so comfortable with it, they put a lot of pressure on you in the run game, so you have to play with numbers, and then the RPOs are there. And then, of course, their play action and deceptive plays, they're just well designed. They just stress you. But the first thing is the urgency to get lined up with, and then get dialed in and executing our defense. And I think that's a big deal, because you have to do it. They put pressure on you every play, and we have to have consistency in that. We've had these before where we play in these games and you play a lot of snaps good. But I think that's part of what they do. I mean, they want explosives, and they want to put that constant pressure on you, and that's where we got to be just dialed in and locked in at all times, because the moment you're not, they're gonna hit you with a big play.
Mark, Dart seems like he's been there forever. Can you talk a little bit more about him? You hear about the kid from Tennessee and all these other, but no one ever talks about him.
Well, I don't know why, because with the eye-popping numbers that he has, and what he's done and what he'll continue to do throughout the year, he's another guy. I think, I'm sure, like I tongue-in-cheek joked about it. We get the opportunity to play so many top 10 teams. We also, I think, get the opportunity to play a lot of guys that should be standing there at the Heisman, and we'll get several of those guys this year, and he's one of them. I just think he's just special. He's operating at an extremely high level, very, very comfortable, great knowledge, and you could tell, the coaching that he's getting from Lane and Charlie Weiss Jr. and just the system. He's very comfortable, and they put a lot of pressure on you.
Mark, a couple years ago, you guys had a chance to go in that game. A couple players go a different way.
Yeah.
You guys played well down there. And there are some starters on this team that were on that team. Does that help at all, or are those guys going in knowing that they can kind of control the rope a little bit?
Again, I tell you every year that every game, every year, it's totally different. But of course, familiarity is important, and we've been there, and some of our guys have been down there. They were freshmen, some of the guys that were down there playing a couple years ago, and but this is a new year, new challenge. I hope we can, play better in certain areas. I know Ole Miss is better in a lot of ways as well, to credit Lane. I mean, they've always been good, but I think they've really built a really special team.
Run game has been pretty good even without Chip. So when he does eventually become available, how do you work him back into that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll depend on how comfortable we are with the practice reps. So I haven't seen that yet. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes. I mean, if he's 100% and feeling good and can secure the football and has strength to grip it and all those things.
You talked a lot about Jamarion needing to take care of business off the field because it's clear he has so much talent on it. When he's playing well on the field, does it make it easier to do those things, or do you know?
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to crucify the young man and act like that he's not doing things right. He is. He's working hard. It's just part of the maturation process, right? We're here to bring young men along, and get them to compete at a high level and have the consistency that we're looking for. He's proving that with time, and we just want to continue to push him that way.
Mark, not that you ever want someone to be injured, but just how much has this, with Chip not being available, has it helped having Jamarion and Jason maybe getting more opportunities there they never had to carry in college?
Yeah, I think it's important. Most of the time, you'd be very lucky to go through a complete season with a running back through this schedule and not have any injuries or anybody banged up. So, you always need that depth.
Rainer wasn't on the depth chart this week. Is he going to be out for an extended time?
Yeah, we're going to see. There's a possibility we may look to redshirt him and get him back, just to let him really get his strength and body weight up to what he's capable of. And so, we'll see. He's played in 3. He'll have an opportunity to play in at least one more prior to the bowl game. And so, depending on how Javon, progresses and Grant progresses and, where we're at that position, surely it would be great to have him back a year from now, but we are in the business of trying to win every game we can right now. So we'll try to balance that and see where it goes.
Brock and Dane connected.
That's not an injury right now.
That's not an injury right now, yeah.
Brock and Dane connected on some big ones over the weekend, and Dane had a really big game. Do you like how the offense is progressing?
Well, I think, week to week, you're seeing progress in certain areas, and you're seeing areas where we're falling short. I think, that was part of it on Saturday with us, and I believe I got into that post game. But, I wanted to improve. I wanted to get better. I wanted to start throwing the ball. And, sometimes in the past you've seen us just grind it out and just, bleed out the clock and just get on to the next game. But we clearly have work to do. And so, when you got quarterbacks and receivers that got to get on the same page, and throwing the ball, maybe doing some more drop back than we necessarily would in certain situations. We're trying to get better. We're trying to improve, and once we had that game in hand, we're trying to improve.
Mark, 2 years ago, that game you were talking about, they had what we were told maybe one of the great atmospheres that they've had in a long time. I think one of the pregame shows was there. And you guys were eventually able to wear them down and kind of flip the momentum. Is there a key to playing that way on the road? To just, you talk about staying focused and just everybody doing their job. Is that what it comes down to?
Well, I mean, whether it's home or away, there's distractions here as well early in the season. You're in a great atmosphere, and as I alluded to a lot of times, just the focus that it takes. I mean, everybody's excited. You know what I mean? They want to win. Our guys want to win. They invest a lot. It comes down to execution and who makes the plays when the game's on the line. We're going to play a lot of close games, and so you have to make plays in critical moments.
On the thing that Cole Kubelik does on Sundays, he flips of Dylan Ray making nice blocks. How has he played, and how do you feel about the offensive line overall after 4 games?
Dylan has progressed. We trust him. He's obviously more comfortable inside at guard than he is at tackle. And so I think, that's the best area for him. And he's been playing very well. He's a guy that has been reliable for us and gives us everything he has and works extremely hard. And I think there's, some cohesiveness with him in there as well. So I think he's interchangeable with some of our other guys. And I think the offensive line in general is continuing to improve. And they've really worked hard. They've taken it to heart. They've, and so, I think, this past week, the past couple weeks, again, they want to be better. They're working hard. They care. And that's all you can ask. So we got to make sure that we're putting them in a position to be successful as well.
Mark, 4 weeks in, what have you seen from JQ, Jansen, and DJ as they kind of develop?
Work in progress. Again, I like their attitude. I like the way they're working. As they see more reps, as they see more plays, they'll grow even more. And this week will be a real challenge for them for sure. With not only with the pace and with the scheme, they have talented players and a quarterback that's on fire. So, it'll be definitely our hands full.
Mark, did you get what you wanted last week out of Wildcat packages? Looks that?
Yeah, we got him some touches that we wanted to, and the nice thing with him is, as you saw in that game, he could throw the ball exceptionally well as well. So I wouldn't want to label it as a Wildcat package, with him. I think it's a change, and it gives us some variety.
Coach, you talked about developing young talent and getting them early snaps. What have you seen from Steven Souls that's,
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned, he's a guy that's just relentless. He plays extremely hard. He has, some really, some ability to rush the passer. And, we need some of that energy and some of that juice. And the guys up front have been playing really good, but he's another good addition that could get some pressure on the quarterback.
You mentioned the tempo before, you've played it, but is there any practical way to simulate that in practice?
It's very difficult. I mean, we have, as I told you last week or post game, that we've been working on it to some extent, but it's very hard to do that for an entire practice, the way these guys are. So, we'll try different ways to simulate that. As we go good against good, that's the best way to get quality, reps, but it won't be Ole Miss plays, so that's the best way to, just get any simulation of how fast they go. I know Lane wants to go extremely fast, and they are going fast. They are top 5 in the country. If you look at the snaps when they're getting it off, and so I think that is very hard to simulate. We'll try our best, but that's hard to do. We've been trying to, not only just for this game, just in general, anybody can flip tempo in our offense has worked to, be more efficient at tempo. Not that we're, again, that type of team, but it takes some practice. And so we've been working that since, all summer. Doesn't mean it's going to lead to any kind of, the simulation of what we're going to see Saturday, because that's a whole different level, and that's what they do. They do it all the time, and they're very good at it.
How tough is it just to scout on this when, it's not like the preseason where you haven't seen it all, but you've seen it against SEC foes.
Yeah, I think, obviously, the nice thing for them is they have a very good football team, and they've been able to kind of do what they want, and so they've worked a lot on themselves and gearing up. So, but it doesn't matter the competition, or anything, or who they play. And they're a top team, and they've played like it. That's for sure.
Mark, you mentioned after the game that you got some stats for Augustin and Malachi Wood. How'd they grade out?
Good. They did good. I don't have it directly in front of me, but we believe in their talent. We believe in their attitude and work ethic, and they're getting better. They're good young guys that we need in the program.
At the point you can trust
them? Yeah. I think they're getting to the point where we can start getting them in there against quality opponents when the game's on the line. Again, that's difficult. We know that. It's not always easy, but they're getting there.
You talked on Saturday about dictating the game on the ground. How important will that be this weekend? Obviously, to try to limit their possessions, try to control the crowd.
I think that's who we are, right? That's what we do best. That's not going to fool them. That doesn't mean it's going to be very easy. Again, I think Pete, is absolutely one of the best defensive coordinators, and they have really big, strong guys. And they have some experience in the back end. They match things up really well. For us, it's about continuing to be balanced, right? We can't just be one-dimensional. I think that's why, again, we're working on things last week, working on drop back, working on throwing the ball, and I think just in general, we have to try to find some balance. But running the ball, being physical, and it always starts there for us.
Did you get more confidence in the passing game from?
Yeah, I did. I felt like we made some growth. I thought they made some really good throws. I thought some guys really worked hard to get open. I think if we get a little bit more time, we could, continue to improve in that area as well.
How much of getting better protection is really just timing it up well so that the defense isn't teeing off on you?
Pardon me?
How much of getting better pass protection is just calling the shots when the other team isn't barreling down there?
Yeah. See, what people, and we have tried to get shots. You know what I mean? Like you play our offense, they know it's that shots are incorporated. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, when people are like, oh, you're not. Yes, we are. Yes, we are trying to get the ball down the field. So they're like, whatever. I'm not going to act like I'm getting defensive about that. It's just we are. We have attacked. You know what I mean? We're trying to get the ball down the field. You go back a couple of games ago. Again, Georgia covers as good as anybody. You know what I mean? And they're really doing a good job of cutting those routes off. Even Saturday, with the way they rotated, we tried to hit Barryon on one. You know what I mean? And and Barryon was close, you know what I mean, and got a little tug, but needs to be strong and run through that and go get that, and we have a shot at a home run, But we've taken our spots, but yes, it's important with the balance and when you take those shots and how you protect them, teams have done a really good job. They're adding on a lot. This team will add on, so the play actions are there, and then the backers are triggering, and not giving us just enough time to get it down the field on some.
They play a lot more man, or they?
Yeah, they're matching up a lot of stuff. That's just what they do. a lot of split safety stuff, but they'll rotate down. They'll play a lot of, one high as well, mix in man with it, matchup zone. They do a really nice job.
Mark Trey Harris leads SEC in virtually every receiving category. What stands out on film about him when you look at him?
Big and strong. He's in all SEC type receiver. I feel like they have two of them, on the outsides that are both elite guys. Big and strong, can high point it, can really run. They have a bunch of good wideouts, but, I think two that are both all SEC caliber.
Through 4 games, how do you assess Brock's, decision making, reading the field, going through his reads?
He's getting better. He's getting better, and I feel like he's getting more comfortable with every rep. He's competing his tail off. I mean, it's evident, this past week and each and every week, and whether it's Georgia or Ohio or anybody, like, it doesn't affect him. Like, some quarterbacks will get very frustrated with the lack of time that he's had, but he deals with it, and he's a competitor, and, that part of it doesn't faze him as far as the frustration. Like, he's ready to get right back out there, get back in the mix, and go compete. And you gotta love that about him.
Seems like he's comfortable to make some plays outside of the pocket. Or is that a conversation kind of with the receivers if that play is extending where they're running, past when they're route in?
Yeah, I thought we hit some the other day. We had a huge completion to Dane. Thought we missed one, where, to your point, maybe the receiver could have came back. I think it was Dane on one where he could have come back at him. May have been a penalty anyway, but we work off schedule. He's not afraid to work off schedule, both pulling it down, as you've seen, or buying time.
Mark, you were talking about safeties and the deep ball. There's a analytical study out right now in the NFL. I know that's a small sample, but more teams are playing safeties deep to take away the deep ball, and the quarterbacks now have to really concentrate on that short game. I realize there are a lot more college games. Is that something that's made it to the college game yet?
Well, if you see a lot of our, bigger plays or chunk plays for us are the intermediate, kind of what you're talking about. Like, we are surely trying to hit some over the top, but, when that's taken away, that's when you're getting that mid-level, plays that are creating some explosives. With Ole Miss, they've done a really good job. They could take the top off and go, completely over the top, but they also do a really good job of layering their stuff and climbing and creating, some explosives as well. And I think with the pressure of the tempo, that puts a lot of pressure on defenses on how the matchups are and where they're at, because you really have to dial in on that, pre-snap, and they go so fast a lot of times that's when you're kind of holding on. So we really got to do a good job of having the urgency to get lined up, get locked in, and have some anticipation of what's coming.
And with that in mind, how great is it to have somebody like Maxwell Hairston, experienced?
Yeah, I think it's very, very good with him, and some of the other guys just got to clean up vision, continue to work, our zones and push our zones, and just anticipate some things that are going on.
Mark Rodriguez got his first start. As you all are trying to help the offensive line pass protection, how much is his physicality?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and that's why. With him, he's done a nice job of on the dash play, securing that edge or whatever. But our other guys have to do it as well. We can't have that strong of a tendency, with him. So he is a guy that can do. He's an every down type of player. But we have some other good tight ends as well. Just he's been more physical. He's been securing that edge, and our other guys have to do it as well.
Fans have been, barking about your Stoops, embrace analytics, go for it. They were excited to see you go for it a couple times there on 4th down on Saturday.
Yeah, how'd that work out for me? I bet you Coach White's real happy, because we probably get a shutout if I just kicked the ball. But I'm glad they're happy.
All right, is that it? Thank y'all very much.
Yeah.